This podcast was recorded during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the series being covered here would not exist.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it. Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 fan cast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, currently spending my days on my hands and knees looking for broken bits of a disco ball and a wall-sized mirror frame. My name is SP, and the lead Artie's Attic agent and historian who spent her birthday weekend playing craps in Vegas is Agent Shannon.
I wish it's craps in Vegas. We're just Vegas, but hey, what's up, guys?
And the rookie agent who, despite extreme obstacles of plague and homelessness, this past weekend fought her way to become the coolest co-host I've ever had. It's Agent Carolyn.
I did have a really good weekend. Yes, it was a very fun weekend.
We had con weekends for you. We had strip clubs for me. It was all good weekends then.
It was a great weekend. I mean, I had to find a hotel emergency, but it was fine.
What happened?
It was all fine. The friend that I was going to stay with ended up getting COVID. She texted me Friday morning and said, I just texted positive for COVID. And I'm like, well, I'm not staying there.
Hotel it is.
So it was 7:00 in the morning looking for a hotel close to the convention center and finding one that was, it was a lot more expensive than I was planning on spending. That's for sure.
Cut into your con.
If you don't know what Carolyn actually got to do this past weekend, look her up on her X feed at Ocean363. You will see some amazing pictures we might talk about later on the podcast.
Rose City, right? Rose City?
Yeah, Rose City Comic Con. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would say timeliness is everything. Coolest co-host ever. That's awesome.
You're always, both of you are always welcome to come.
Yeah, well,
pretty cool.
Yeah, we talked about it. Anyway, let's get on with this show. We are continuing our discussion of the show that premiered 2 years before Instagram existed.
Oh my goodness.
It's Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 8, Duped. Pete's goofing around with Lewis Carroll's mirror creates a mishap in the warehouse with bad consequences for Micah, but there's no time to learn of it as Artie has to send his agents out right away to discover how two small-time crooks are suddenly able to rake in millions at the casinos without raising any eyebrows. This episode premiered on August 25th, 2009. Shannon, I think this is your favorite one yet.
Yes. Micah. Yes. Well, and what's the girl from
Eureka?
Yes, what's her name?
Erica Sarah, and she's playing Jillian Whitman, not Joe. She is not playing Joe.
I know. She's pretty cute too.
But
I always liked her.
It took me a minute to try to figure out where she was from because I'm looking at her face going, crap, I know this face. I know this face. Well, I had
both him and her from the same show.
She has 49 acting credits since 1994, including a role in the 2004 Blade Trinity movie, 4 Battlestar Galactica episodes as Maya, this one episode of Warehouse 13, 77 episodes of Eureka as Deputy Sheriff Joe Lupo, 8 episodes of Supernatural as Duma, 21 episodes of The 100 as Dr. Becca Franco, and 10 episodes of The Astronaut. She played Connie Rivers. Total of 49 acting credits. She has been in some stuff, even though it's only been, and I say only because we get hundreds, actors in the hundreds, only 49 acting credits. She is
But she's
noted.
been in some good sci-fi, though.
Yes.
The 100, I remember she did a great job in that. I don't remember her in Battlestar.
It was a smaller role for 4 episodes, but she was there. She was in it.
Well, her co-star from Eureka was also playing her boyfriend in this episode.
Yeah, Gary Whitman was played by, or Niall Matter is his name. He was played Gary Whitman, and he has 56 acting credits since 2007. He was in 2 episodes of Stargate Atlantis. I forgot about that. He was in the 2009 movie Watchmen as the Mothman. He was in this 1 episode of Warehouse 13, 3 episodes of Melrose Place, 5 episodes of 90210, and then 49 episodes of Eureka as Zane Donovan. And currently dozens of Hallmark movies and shows.
Movies. Yeah, I knew him from Hallmark movies. I forgot he was in Eureka. I was like, ooh, Hallmark guy.
Those are the 2 big co-stars in this episode. And unfortunately, since this does cross over to Eureka and they do play Eureka characters, it got a little bit weird for me watching this again. Because when it was first out, it wasn't a known hard crossover between the 2, and we established that it is in the same universe later on. And Eureka has been on for at least 3 years. It started in 2006 at the time that this happened. So I'm like, gee, couldn't they have played their own characters? I don't understand.
So they weren't playing Joe. She wasn't playing Joe.
She was not playing
It's been so
Joe.
long since I've seen Eureka.
Yeah, he was not playing Zane, but they are 2 actors from Eureka.
Right.
True,
That's so cool,
but
though.
they had to disappear because, they had all those winnings and they had to just find a beach somewhere and disappear.
But Pete, just let him go. Yeah, take the cash. Just leave Vegas.
Just take the cash and go.
Man, Micah was a hottie in this dress. You can't
Mhm.
even deny it. Neither one of you.
No way.
Well, she did knock everything crooked, according to Pete.
Yes. But I think I loved that had the way she convinced Artie that she was the real one while she was sitting in the mirror.
Yeah.
And she let him have it. And he needed it. And he needed to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But
And I think he actually heard her too. He wasn't just like,
blowing her
whatever,
off.
you're a reflection in the glass and I'm not paying attention to you because I've been burned before kind of thing. He was really paying attention to her and says, you know what, I screwed up and I'm sorry. And,
Well, he was going to blow it off for a long time until Claudia brought up the whole whatever she created. She's so
I know. She's like, it's just something I whipped up. This big machine to talk to a mirror.
It's not named. It's basically a what she said. It's a CIA laser microphone, basically. So she modified it so it would go to the other side of the mirror, so they'd be able to communicate back and forth, I guess. But it's not named what it is.
No, but it was she's just like, I just whipped it up, and it looks like one of those old timey camera kind of things, and then it looked like she had a belt full of batteries or something to make it work. I mean, it was like this major thing, and she's only gone for like, I don't know, what seems like 15 minutes when she's supposed to be gathering research for this mirror. She
what
then,
am I, your Gal Friday?
Yeah. It's amazing how she can just whip things up, but you're not really supposed to be using these things for personal gain. Obviously, there's no side effect for her, but
well, I mean, she just has things that are laying around the warehouse nobody else is doing. She's like, oh, I could make this, and this with this. So here we go. Let's make this.
Artie dresses her down a couple of times in this episode. He really needs to impart on her that while she is all enamored with the warehouse and all the cool gadgets in there and the wonderful things that she could do and the improvements that she can make, Artie's like, these are real things that can kill you. And oh, by the way, that man out there that we saw last episode, McPherson, he will kill you. And he's rough with her, but in the same situation,
she needs it.
yeah, she kind of needs it. If I was doing it, I would be dressing her down too. It's like, look, I know this is cool, but you are in real world hurts here and you could die.
Yeah, but he did apologize a little later and told her that he was a little rough with her, but that he wanted to emphasize the fact that it was, that guy is evil and he will hurt her. And she just said, well, she didn't like the fact that he hurt him and she kind of owes him for helping out her brother. So she wanted to help, and that was the way she wanted to help. And she didn't know that he is that dangerous, even though we all know that he is that dangerous. I thought it was funny when the episode starts out, and you got Lena. She's very scared, and Artie's trying to take on the whole world. He's trying to find McPherson and do everything, and he's not getting anything accomplished. So she's trying to get him to realize that Mrs. Frederick is after McPherson, and that he's missing out on all the warehouse things that he needs to be taken care of. And then he says, well, you've got all of them out there doing inventory. And this is when you see Pete's down there playing ping pong with the mirror again and
doing things he's not supposed to.
Yeah, Micah coming out and says, are you playing with yourself again?
I got to go back a second. I got to defend Artie here for a couple of things. First of all, at the end of the last episode, he basically said to Mrs. Frederick that he was going to go after McPherson, that she was asking him, what is his next move going to be? And he's like, we have to figure it out. So it is not all in the hands of Mrs. Frederick. He is front and center trying to figure out this McPherson thing. And the inventory that he's asking everybody to do is literally trying to find the stuff that's missing that McPherson might have on hand to use. So he's actually doing positive things here.
True. However,
I don't think they know that they're missing things yet.
Yeah, they don't. That's why they're doing inventory.
Remember last time he's like, I thought we bagged all those up. I thought I got all those with the grenades. Now I realize new ones were made, but they figure out that this guy has artifacts with him, and they need to find out what possibly is gone from the warehouse. That's stated a couple of times.
True, but that discussion was also in the back of the car before Artie got a sword through his chest. So she probably told him, hey, it's now time for you to rest, recover. She'll take over looking for McPherson until he recovers. And he wants to just do it all right now. And she's like, both of them are like, Artie, you need to heal. You literally got a sword through your chest. You need to heal. And he's like, no, I have to find all the things and do all the things.
This whole series is a one-way trip for Artie. He's not coming back.
There's no coming back from this.
Well, the warehouse does take a lot out of you.
So what'd you think about the two mixing of the artifacts? You know me, I always love the history of what they're mixing, like the Lewis Carroll mirror. I think that was pretty amazing how they incorporated that story into it.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't so nice, was she?
No. I mean, I thought it was really funny where the disco ball was playing, and you see Claudia over there going, oh yeah, and starts dancing with the disco ball. I mean, it really doesn't have any power there, but that was another artifact that we got in this one. There were a lot of artifacts used in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was dancing. I think it did exude its power. I don't know if she was dancing just because it was cool and, something's gone different and she's just enjoying it. So there's that part. But it has powers to make you enjoy
Studio
yourself
54,
to suck it up. So I can't say for sure that it was just all coolness for her. It might have been the ball exuding its artifact power on her.
The ball power.
Artie, I hate disco.
I lived through the 70s and I agree. I hate disco. And one of my favorite movies, The Martian, the only music he has to play is the commander's music, which is all disco. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh. At least they did the good disco songs for that movie.
But because of Pete playing with things again, it causes Micah to end up holding onto the mirror so it doesn't fall down and crash while the disco ball is making everybody stop and not want to do anything, and then all of a sudden Alice changes places with Micah.
Because it takes her reflection from the mirror. From both
Mhm.
mirrors, actually. So
Yep.
now you've got the essence of basically
Wacky Alice.
wacky Alice. Thank you. Brain fart.
Wacky Alice.
And so now basically you got the essence of Alice, evil Alice, inside of Micah. So they swap places altogether. So now you got a spunky Micah. And like this.
This is Bunky Micah.
Okay, let me ask you this, Shannon. Was your favorite part Micah and dressing down Artie as they were coming up to that, or was it the kiss, the steamy kiss in the hallway? And let's forget about the relationship thing for a second, but the steamy kiss in the hallway.
Actually, my favorite part was when she kicked Pete's ass in the hotel room.
I was gonna say that's probably her favorite part because it was literally she's sitting there kicking his butt, and I was like, "Oh, this is probably Shannon's favorite part."
Was the kiss nice? Yeah, I mean, lucky Pete, because damn.
Whew.
But
yeah, it knocked him off. That's for sure.
It would have done the same to me. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'd have forgot everything, including my name. But I liked the way she's like, "Oh, Pete, I tried. I really tried, and now I'm gonna have to kick your butt." So he's a lightweight compared to her.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken by surprise, and that surprises me. He has no vibes on this whatsoever. I have a problem with that. If his superpower is vibes, he should have had a vibe about this whole thing from the warehouse on.
Right.
He should have had
I agree. I was amazed there was no vibe, especially when Artie called and he's like, "So are you getting any vibes? Getting anything? Nothing?" He's like, "Yeah, the buffet's way overpriced."
We did ask about Micah. He's like, he was picking up what Artie was putting down. He said, "You mean Micah?" And Artie's like, "No, I know she's listening. No, just anything." He's like, "No, the buffet." He throws it off. However, that could have been, and I watched it a couple of times. I wasn't 100% sure. That could have been him acknowledging it, that it is Micah, but he knows that she's in his ear, and so he can't say it. So it's hard to tell.
There was some good Star Trek and Star Wars references in here, though, because when Pete got off the Farnsworth that time, he goes, "Kirk out."
Kirk out. Yes. What was the Star Wars one?
That was pretty good.
What was the Star Wars reference?
What was the Star Wars reference? Oh, because it's what lured McPherson to the dark side. That was the Star Wars reference. It was later on.
The dark power.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say
they were talking about the dark side. No, there was no cookies.
No cookies in this episode.
No cookies, but there was like a scone, which it should have tipped somebody off because Micah was eating and no one else was. Like Artie did grab one at the end, but somebody should have got tipped off because Micah was eating. Micah rarely eats things like that.
Yeah, Micah doesn't do sugar.
Well, it could have been like a big, like Asiago cheese bagel or something like that. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be like sugary.
That doesn't sound like anything like Artie would eat.
I don't know. Have you had one? They're pretty good.
I did have a bacon cheese scone when I was at the con, which was actually really, really yummy.
That sounds pretty good.
It was really good.
Rubbing it all over the place. There's really good food. I got to see number one and Nurse Chapel and her husband. And
you got to have your arms around both of them, and you didn't even,
Star Trek and Star Wars with Zed. And then you had Gigi too.
Yeah, it was just, it was overall amazing. Yeah, just.
One of these days, I'm going to come into that con when it's happening.
Next
year, it's September 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Maybe.
Well, you're both welcome.
It's around the start of school, but it's not. You start school, your girls start school early, like in August.
Yeah, right? August 14th was our.
Yeah, so you could go.
I could.
Hey, I know where there's a good hotel.
So the artifact The artifact, I don't think was named in this, or at least I didn't catch it. So I don't know.
Which
It's just the lucky coin.
The lucky coin came, actually, I wrote it down. The lucky coin came from the Jubilee Grand and something about a fire. They didn't really explain much. I had to watch it twice to catch this, and I read it, and I paused when they showed the little coin. It was from the Jubilee Grand.
So they didn't give
something
details.
About a fire, and it saved another guy's life. So I'm guessing when they stole it from that guy, that's what exuded power from. I'm not sure.
Because artifacts are created, they're imbued with their powers whenever an event like that happens. So if someone saves someone and he says, here, this is my lucky coin, but you're going to have...
Yeah, it has side effects.
You get the side effects for using it for not for good, right? So they're
that's
not
probably
using
what the
it.
burns were.
That's why it burns their hands, because they're not using it for worthy things.
No, the fire of the Jubilee Grand.
The fire at the Jubilee Grand was why it was burning their hands, but it allowed him to see the future because that's the power that saved the guy. And then they stole it because they're a couple of con artists.
So if they used it the correct way and just looked at the future and tried to do better things, then but because they're using it for personal gain.
I don't know. I mean, every artifact always has a downside. So my guess is even if you were using it for good, you would probably still get the side effect because, I mean...
Eventually, yes. But theirs was quicker because they were using it to steal all the money.
Yes.
A lot of money.
They said they wanted to steal at least 5 million. They just weren't there yet.
Almost there. We're almost there.
Couple more thousand left. I'm like, okay, so you're $4,989,000 in.
Then she's like, you need to go to the doctor. He's like, well, we don't have any insurance for that. And he says,
hello,
I'll go if you go down and bet more. And I'm like, oh, jeez.
This was before Obamacare, so I get the insurance thing.
Yeah. And if you had pre-existing conditions, no one would even look at you. So.
Man, I have tons of those now. Damn it.
Yes, you do.
Any new job I go to, I have to disclose all that stuff.
Well, hopefully your job now currently will be fine. And
by the way, this was barely before the onset of the Affordable Care Act, which is commonly known as Obamacare. It was signed into law on March 23rd, 2010.
Barely.
So just a few months after.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I was laughing at in the beginning was when they were all sitting around the table in the morning and Artie was giving them this information and Micah was, not Micah, was Alice Micah. And Pete and Claudia come in and Pete's playing on what looks like a phone. I'm guessing it maybe was like Snake or something because cell phones I don't know where we were at with cell phones or something or a Game Boy. And he's sitting there and they're arguing over the fact that one of them wants to play the game and he won't give it up to Claudia. And then they're like a bunch of children at the table. And Micah's like, Claudia, be quiet. Because she just wants to go. Because Alice wants to get out. She wants to go explore the world. Yep. She wanted the $10,000 that Pete had in his little container.
Yeah, it's not a lot. She doesn't know how much $10,000 is worth because, she was
a little girl.
Yeah. In there for
she just wants the money.
Yeah, well, 10 grand is not a lot. So
no. Well, not to mention, look the way she was dressed. She was Victorian dress. So she was from the late 1800s, early 1900 time frame. So she'd been in that mirror for a minute. For a bit. For a hot minute.
I mean, you might look a little scary if you've been in the mirror for 100 years too.
Did you see me out when I came from the hospital? That was scary enough.
Yeah, I got a couple of bootleg pictures. Yeah.
Shaved on one side, long on the other. Yeah, it was.
and a bunch of, you know what? I don't think Sean really cared about retribution at that point in time. He was just glad to have you alive.
Hey, I made it. I made it to the birthday. That's good.
You did.
It was pretty good.
Yay for birthdays.
You weren't put in the dark vault.
I was not.
Right? That's where the mirror's going.
I kind of was for a little bit, but I didn't stay, so it was okay.
Yeah, was this our first mention of the Dark Vault? I think this is the first mention of the Dark Vault.
First mention of the Dark Vault. And he still didn't show them what the Dark Vault was.
Yeah, we didn't get in there.
No, he's going to do that tomorrow.
Was part of the pilot in the Dark Vault? I can't remember.
I think when he went to get the comb,
Yes.
that when he went to get the comb from the pilot, I think that was the Dark Vault because it's like got a purple hue and everything.
Yep.
So I think that's the Dark Vault.
But this is the first time set. So 2 months later, after the pilot, this airs, and so we get another mention of Dark
There's still
Vault.
parts of the warehouse that they haven't even discovered yet. I mean, it's huge.
Well, it's the warehouse.
That's
so
a
yeah.
lot. Look, for someone who does inventory all day long, I need a Micah, Pete, and a Claudia all helping me. That's a lot. But I just need the Claudia for the entertainment.
So I have
Yes.
a point on the Studio 54 ball. So you guys have been in warehouses, Shannon, obviously. You guys have been at Home Depot and Lowe's. That's relatable to most people that haven't worked in a warehouse. The Studio 54 ball is on the top, like third, fourth, fifth shelf, whatever. It's on the top, right? It comes down from that height and it doesn't break.
Yeah, it like bounces.
It's because it's an artifact.
I guess it's made of mirror, though. You would think. Just speculating, just throwing it out. You'd think that something
Magic
get
mirrors,
chipped.
magic mirror, though.
It's magic. You don't question it. It's
It's
just
imbued.
magic.
And then the whole wall mirror comes down. Boom.
You would think that
not
would
just
shatter
once,
too.
but like twice. And yeah, you'd think
Yeah.
it shattered or the frame would break or something.
All I
Yep.
know is that when I just barely drop my phone, it shatters. So yes, I would think that the glass would shatter multiple
Okay.
times.
So
They don't make things like they used to.
No,
you need like the Steve Jobs artifact imbued first iPhone. That's what you need.
yeah, I need something. Because like on my Galaxy, I've so many times I have put the screen protectors on it, but you know, like when you place it and it's not quite where you want to, and you want to pick it up and replace it again. I just bought one a couple weeks ago, and they come in packages of 2, and both of them cracked, spatter cracked in like 15 minutes being open.
You need to
Weird.
buy better ones.
I know I need better ones because now my phone's all scratched.
Yeah, the ones that I buy for work, they go on. Actually, I have one on mine, and it hasn't cracked at all.
And the one that I have
It's
on
fine.
my iPhone, it's perfect. But I guess they don't make that stuff.
I have to put it on lens covers now too,
Yeah.
lens protectors.
I put those on mine
because these lenses stick out so far now.
Let me tell you, I had an iPhone 11, and I don't really like iPhones that much. I don't really know much about them because I've had a Samsung for so long. I mean, like 20 years ago, we had an
too.
iPhone.
Valid.
But they're taking our phones from us, so we had to go out and get a new phone, and then they're going to pay for the phone line service. So only thing I can afford, I got an iPhone 8, and it's so much tinier than an iPhone 11. I'm like, my hands are cramping after having the iPhone
Yeah.
11 for 2 years.
Yeah, I get that.
And I'm like asking my friend, I'm like, I don't even know how do I get, songs on here? How do I get ringtones? All this stuff I want to do. I don't know. I'm not an iPhone
Ringtones
person.
are harder now just because they've locked it down so much.
You need to actually do it on your computer and then transfer it over. It's a pain.
Well, no,
in the
I got
ass.
it. I mean, you could go to your iTunes, buy the song, but you have to buy not just the song, but you have to buy the ringtone. It's like a 30-second clip.
Yep.
I got my Jason Aldean on there. That's all I need.
Okay.
As long as you got that when you're
As
set.
long as I got it.
I do have another issue with this episode here. So, and it's not really an issue. It's kind of just funny. So, Shannon, like your husband, I've done a thing or two with cars, right? So they're talking about Micah and pulling to the right, and all the time I'm thinking, oh, her car is out of alignment. She's pulling to the right. She's going into the ditch over and over again.
Well, when he said that,
Which
he was
pulls the
actually
chin.
making the head motions on
Yeah.
screen. So to me, it was his head. Her
Yeah,
head that
it
he
was
pulling.
the way she torques her head or her neck.
And
Whenever
that was actually how they figured
How
out
they
that's
discovered it.
actually
and he's like, oh,
actually Micah in the mirror
she
and
does
not.
she does pull to the right when she's mad at me. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So
And the name of did you catch the name of the ferret? Cracked
Pete.
me up.
Pete,
Yeah,
little Pete.
the name of the ferret is Pete because he's cute, but he's very annoying.
All around, this is obviously going to be my top episode so far, for obvious reasons. I like the co-stars that we get. I like that the mission that they're doing. The missions are getting, and I like the fact that she's finally starting to get somewhere with Artie. So hopefully in the next episode we'll see them having more of a conversations, because there's things that she needs to talk about with him. I think it's the second season that comes through, but like the whole thing that happened with her in Denver. She needs to have someone to have those conversations. But even though she talks to Pete, right, obviously, but because Artie's lost officers. I mean, he's lost people also to agents. So I like that we're finally getting somewhere. And I like that you see how Lena is more involved in this episode a lot too. She's help do the research.
She is. I mean, she's got an oven that needs to be fixed, but
yeah, she was making
she needs to bring Claudia to the kitchen.
Apple pies. What was she making? What pies? But the thermometers broke because he said he'd fix that.
Fix, right?
I think Lena could fix it herself. She is that capable, but Artie said he was going to fix it. That's what Lena was pointing out. It's like, Artie, you said you're going to do this, and she's trying to get him out.
One-handed, let me fix the stove.
He could do it and just get out of the warehouse and focus on something else for a little bit. It's part of her job, right? Is to be a counselor to the agents, and that's one thing that she's working on here.
Well, that's also a reason why they also keep her. I mean, she's not just an innkeeper. She's very in tune to emotions and feelings. So that's her special, contribute.
Well, and Artie did use that. The reason why he wanted her back while making pies was so that she could hold on to the mirror and see if the person behind there was actually alive.
She can get a vibe.
So if she could touch it, but and then Artie was holding on to her backside, her pants, and Claudia's like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
"Get your mind out of the gutter.
Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm just holding on to her in case she falls into the mirror."
But so what's cool about that? What I thought was cool about that scene is you can tell that she didn't ask him to do that. He didn't tell her he's going to do that. They just automatically jumped right into those roles. So you could tell the relationship that Artie and Lena have together, that they already know what needs to be done because they've worked so long together. They're a good partnership.
So Claudia's laser mic, when she powers it up, does it sound like a Ghostbuster backpack to you guys?
It kind of did, yes.
It did, yes, it did.
Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Don't cross the streams.
So Carolyn, what was your favorite scene?
This one had so much in it. Even the second time through was just, I was catching a lot more. I don't know as I could think about the favorite because there's a lot of funny parts in where Artie, I did it again. Artie, doing it again.
Kids, Artie, your kids.
Kids, you got to do something about your
kids. Gotta
kids.
be done.
Sorry, Artie was telling Claudia, you never trust the shadows. The shadows have power. And then he talked about Bloody Mary. And she's like, oh, yeah, but that's just a myth. And then he looked at her and then she's like, oh, I forgot where I worked. Yeah, everything does. I don't know what the Bloody Mary is or what the story was with that. But,
what?
I'm sorry. What? See, that's why I need a history person.
I feel old now.
Okay.
It's something as I did. SP, didn't you do that as a kid?
Well, yeah, a Bloody Mary. Well, we call them suicides, but.
No, I'm not talking about a drink. There used to be an old, what do they call those? Wives' tale, whatever. Where didn't you ever go to like a summer party when you're little, and if you would sit in a circle and you would chant Bloody Mary in the dark, and while you're staring into a mirror, and supposedly you would see the image of Bloody Mary. No. I cannot tell you how many times I got shoved into the bathroom at summer parties. Okay, you say it. You say it. Say it. I'm like, I'll say it. So you say Bloody Mary 3 times, and it's supposed to have an image of this woman that with blood.
Whatever. I mean, we tried to do one of those Ouija boards. I'm like, nah, this is all fake.
You know what? Look, I love Halloween's my favorite holiday.
No.
I mean, Christmas is nice and stuff, but Halloween is my favorite.
I could see that.
I love everything, but I ain't touching the Ouija board, mainly because I believe in it.
I think it would freak me out.
I believe
think it really
in
would.
ghosts,
I've never
and I believe
touched
in
one.
spirits, and I believe that you don't mess with the religious stuff on it. So, like Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger, none of that stuff, or The Omen, or none of that stuff scares me. Exorcist kind of scares me. It's a little bit too much in the head. So, The Conjuring, that scares you.
I don't watch any of this stuff.
I mean, Michaela
I
watched
don't
The
either.
Conjuring.
I don't watch horror. It's never been a thing.
Closest I get to horror is like Aliens 2. That's about the closest I get.
A couple months ago, we watched Poltergeist, and
I heard
it was Carrie's first watching of a horror movie. But it's, to me, when I was her age, I knew it line for line. So it wasn't like a.
Why does that not surprise me?
It really shouldn't. It shouldn't. But so still, I mean, I like haunted houses. I like horror movies and The Conjuring. Michaela made me watch The Conjuring muted and with the light on, and she still jumped all over the front living room.
Really? She's watching the TV. She's not on her phone or anything. She's just watching it muted.
She sat glued to me with the lights on while we watched it muted. And every couple minutes, I'd have to stop. Okay, pause. What's going on? So it's funny because she can't sit still during the whole movie. She jumps everywhere in the living room. Right? I'm like, calm down. It's just a jump scare. That's what it is, right? Should we watch Conjuring 1 and 2 that way? So Conjuring 3 came out and she wanted to go see it at the movie theater. I'm like, okay. So I drove her all the way up to North Dallas. We went to the movie theater. We get in, we made about 30 minutes in, and she made me leave. Because, one, there's no lights on, okay? You can't have the lights on. Two, it's not muted. Three, she can't scream inside the movie theater like, because...
Really? Everybody else does.
Well,
I'm sure everybody else was.
Okay, let me rephrase that. She can scream, but she wants to jump around.
Yeah.
And she can't sit still. So none of that worked. I thought it was funny, but none of it worked.
I did think of you while I was at the con because there was a booth and it had, I can't remember who else was it, but it had Syfy on the booth and the booth was all Chucky. It just had like dolls of Chucky and you could get your picture with Chucky. And I was like, I thought about taking a picture and sending it to you, but I totally forgot. But it made me think of you because I was like, oh, look, there's actually a booth of Syfy. And big surprise, it's got Chucky in it.
Yeah, so Syfy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's actually a Syfy booth there.
Right? That's why I was going to take a picture for you, but I totally forgot. But I don't think that was, I mean, there was a lot of other favorite moments. There was also one where Pete said that he wanted to trade Micah for the Farnsworth for the Tesla because she's like, but you have the other gun. And he says, yeah, but it's not the cool one.
It's not the cool one. Mine has the real bullets.
But you lost the coin toss.
And
let's go see if we can change your luck.
She was good. Alice was good there.
Yeah.
She was bought into it. Yeah. My favorite part is when Artie and Claudia put the mirror back up and they walk away and they turn around and Artie sees Micah in there. And that just changes the whole dynamic of everything right away. It's like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is that really Micah? Is it some foreshadow or something that's just a figment of Micah in there? Or do we really have a big problem? I mean, what's going on? Can anybody get sucked into there? And it started down a pretty cool path. So that was my favorite moment in the whole thing. But you're right. There was just a lot of neat little moments along the way.
I liked it when they were at the end of it and they were putting the cape back over the mirror and they dropped it and then she screamed at them. They're like, oh, jump scare.
I know.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why this episode is probably so good is because of the director. You probably haven't heard of him. His name is Michael W. Watkins. Does that name ring a bell?
No.
Okay. I'm not surprised. He has 64 directing credits that start in 1990, including 2 Primetime Emmy Awards.
Wow.
Now, spoil it right ahead. This is the first of 2 episodes. He actually does the next episode as well. So they did back to back. I don't know if that was designed or he was like, I'm here and the director fell through. So I'm just going to take the next episode too. He did 6 episodes of the original Quantum Leap, and that's where his awards
Aw.
were. 6
love that show.
episodes of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. 1 episodes of Millennium. I don't know if either of you two watched that one. I
No,
think it was on NBC, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't
6
sound familiar.
Yeah. 6 episodes of The X-Files.
Here we are.
2 episodes of Smallville. 1 episode of Caprica.
Oh,
5 episodes of Justified, which is a very good
Great
series.
series.
Yeah, you like it too? I know Sean does. I love
yeah,
it.
Justified is pretty cool.
Did you see City Primeval when that was out?
Hmm.
It just came out. Sean's watched it, so you might want to talk to him about it. 8 episodes of Royal Pains. I know there's some Royal Pains.
I liked that was a good show. I liked
Yeah.
it.
And 22 episodes of The Blacklist.
Ah, okay. I watched that.
That's what they got to play it on Stargate.
Yep.
Which is
The original movie.
the original movie.
Daniel
Yes.
Jackson.
Spade, right?
Yes, David Spade.
David Spade.
David Spade.
I liked Blacklist when it first came out, but like when I discovered it, I blew through like all the seasons in like a week.
It was a good series, and I think they ended it well.
James Spader.
That's what I don't think I've seen the end of. I haven't seen the end of it. I watched it up to the seasons where she found out that it was her dad, and her husband turned on him.
Oh, you have a lot to go then.
How many seasons are there? Let's pop
I
out
don't
the
remember.
first
There
I
one.
was
want
a
to say
lot.
10. Yeah, something like
God,
9
yeah.
or 10 or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna take a while.
It was written by a pair, Benjamin Robb, who was pretty much a staff writer during this season, but then he went on to write his own stuff. So a total of 17 episodes of Warehouse 13, all the way up to the 5th episode of the 5th season. So we're going to
He'll
be
be
seeing
back. He'll be
stuff
back.
that Benjamin does. He had 25 episodes of Afterworld that he wrote, 4 episodes of The Flash, 4 episodes of Arrow. So I covered him over on the podcast Starling Tribune, and 2 episodes of the newer Quantum Leap, not the older one. It must have been a pair when Michael Watkins came in and Benjamin Robb was, going to write future episodes of.
Yeah,
of
I
Quantum Leap.
haven't seen the new Quantum Leap yet. So.
I haven't either, but I just know that they basically rebooted it. So I don't know how many crossovers. I know the main character. Oh, what's his name? He played Captain Archer. Scott Bakula.
Yeah,
Scott Bakula. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he intentionally did not want to have anything to do with the reboot, which kind of soured a lot of people, both on him and Quantum Leap, which is unfortunate.
Well, I understand that though, because you don't want to get so stereotyped into your character.
Also, I don't think he believed in the way that the
I
TV.
think he didn't like the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He wished him well. I think I read something on his Twitter or something like that. He wished him well, but it was just not something that he wanted to be a part of.
Well, sometimes reboots don't go as well. I mean, you couldn't, in my opinion, you couldn't do a reboot of X-Files without having David Coveney and Gillian Anderson.
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch it, especially
They're talking
if they're playing,
about it.
especially if they're playing the same character but just different people.
Oh,
Been there, done that. I'll
Yeah,
watch
that's-
all seasons, and I won't watch that one. I didn't watch the reboot of Charmed either. That was a horrible one.
that was
didn't watch
horrible.
It was
I didn't watch the
horrible.
first one.
Horrible. Well, it's kind of funny. There's a guy who's retiring in a couple of weeks from my work. He was in my office when I first got there way back in the early 90s. And he loved the original Charmed. He kept out every day after Charmed. He would come in. Oh, did you catch the episode of Charmed? Did you? I'm like, no, I haven't, Steve. So eventually I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. So I watched a few of them. And then when the reboot came on, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I'm like, nope, this is nowhere near the original one. It's
I
time to eject here.
All seasons of Charmed, the original one, I watched all of them. I went to a con one time up in Oklahoma City, which is 3 hours north of me, just to see Holly Marie Combs, right? She was the whole reason I went there. There was no one else there worth seeing. It was the smallest con that I've ever gone to. I think there's like 12 tables.
I think I remember you telling me about that one.
But she's so tiny. I mean, she must have been standing on a barrel or something the entire time they filmed her, because I'm only 5'2" and she was like barely 5 foot. I got my picture taken with her, and I'm like looking down at her. I'm like, finally, someone who's smaller than me. That's not my kid.
So back to Warehouse 13, just to finish it off. It was co-written by Derek A. Hughes, has 25 episodes of Afterworld, 21 episodes of Warehouse 13, 4 episodes of The Flash, 4 episodes of Arrow, and 2 episodes of Quantum Leap coming up. So these two are a pair, Benjamin Robb and Derek Hughes, when they're writing. So I think if you take a look at the episodes that they're involved here in Warehouse 13, I think you'll be happy with their writing, which, tells you something, but they haven't really done much. I mean, 4 episodes of The Flash, 4 episodes of Arrow. Those are big shows, but
anything for the 3rd season
of this, yes.
For Warehouse?
Yeah, Benjamin Robb, just off the top of my head, season 3, episode 8, The 40th Floor, and season 3, episode 10, Insatiable.
40th Floor was a good episode. I don't remember Insatiable.
I have to watch it again. I don't remember. Did you notice, SP? There was a snag it and bag it in this episode.
I was a little disappointed, and I was grateful to have it. Right? I was grateful that the coin went in.
I saw it. He snagged it and bagged it. It did make a little spark.
It did? I didn't see it.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It made a little spark. It did.
All right. I'll have to go back and watch that scene because I'm like, I didn't see a spark. I must have been drunk or something.
I don't know if the coin ever got into the warehouse because we just go from...
That's what I was going to talk about.
We just... we just go from there.
They actually get the artifact because is it in the mirror? Or is it...
Well, it was on the Alice Micah because... Well, it was on Alice Micah. She had it in her hand to see what the future would hold when she went in to destroy the mirror in the warehouse.
That's right. So she picked up the hammer.
Because she took it out of the snagged and bagged bag, and then she was using it. And she had it when she was inside the warehouse because she said curiouser and curiouser with it in her hand. And then it kind of burned her.
I love that quote.
I know, right? And then you just see her walking throughout the warehouse. And the next thing you know, they've got the disco ball zapping her back into the mirror. But what happened to the coin? We don't know. Because if Alice has the coin inside the mirror, that can't be good. That cannot be good.
For looking at the future and being able to escape, no, thank you.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I did see a snag and bag, but I don't know what happened to it. Like, is it in the mirror with her?
You know, it's funny.
No.
Carolyn, I know you remember the back of my car, and I've always had stickers, but I remember I used to have that sticker. I think I still do. It says snag it, bag it, and tag it.
Yeah.
I need that on a t-shirt.
We do need that on a t-shirt.
You might know an artist. Yeah. And you also know somebody that has a t-shirt company.
I know. I just found that out recently. I'm like,
I think you can have that made. And if you have that made, I would like one too. So, Jake,
right? If
you're listening.
Oh, yeah, it was Jake. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jake, if you're listening, we all need that t-shirt. Definitely.
But I have to go to Redbubble to get the sticker.
Yes.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about this episode?
I loved it.
I loved it. I mean, it was really good. There was so much involved. I watched it the first time and went, wow, there's a lot in this episode.
I liked it at the end when Artie's like, well, I need the money back. He's like, but it cost a lot of money to get the helicopter last minute. So.
Yeah, but, he have all the receipts. He said he would get all the receipts.
That is something I want to bring up too. So it's the cold opening to this episode is Pete and Micah fighting. And then it goes 14 hours before. So everything that has happened up to the fight in Vegas is 14 hours. That's it. It's a long work day, basically. That's it. Like, wow. So all their travel back and forth happens within a day.
I don't know. So they're in they're in South Dakota. Now they got to go to Vegas. That's 2 different time zones. So, I mean.
Yeah.
That's going back in time. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like they can already, right?
Right.
They'll figure it out.
I thought it was a great episode. I liked the way that they imbued the history with the Lewis Carroll stuff of how when Artie was talking about the real Alice and where they got all the stories from, and they were warehouse agents, and they were talking about stories of of stuff inside the warehouse, and that's how they came up with stuff. I'm like, it's a very creative way to add the history of things into the warehouse.
It's sad though. There were agents that lost their lives getting that mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's how she got stuck. They think that's how she got stuck in the mirror because the murder stopped after she got stuck in the mirror. And you wonder, Artie keeps talking about, no, I've been tricked by shadows before. I'm not listening to this. You're like, who tricked Artie and what happened? Because sounds like it was something pretty severe if he won't even consider talking to Micah.
Well, he's been duped by McPherson.
Well, true, but this was all about the shadows. Like he wouldn't even make eye contact with Micah in the mirror. So
he's saying you can't dupe him, but this is the man who has one button security system in the warehouse.
That's true. That's very easily disabled. Just ask Claudia.
All right, Shannon, got a question for you.
Right.
Do you want me to read the next episode's description from IMDb or Amazon Prime?
I don't know what I picked last time. Whatever's the better one.
You picked Amazon last time.
Amazon. Let's do Amazon.
When Artie, played by Saul Rubinek, receives word of a rash of unexplained suicides at a Florida prison, Pete, played by Eddie McClintock, and Micah, played by Joanne Kelly, are sent to investigate. Claudia, relegated to inventory duty, decides to change a light bulb with the help of an artifact. And that is Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 9, Regrets.
Yep, that's a good episode. That's a really good episode.
Never use an artifact to change a light bulb. Does she not know anything?
She discovers that Artie has to save her.
Does she not? I mean, did she not learn anything from Artie in this last episode?
She never learns anything in those. She always gets duped. She always gets involved with all these artifacts.
If I remember this episode correctly, Artie is telling her that those bulbs are Shelby bulbs, and they were invented by Adolphe Chalet like 108 years ago or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. So the bulbs themselves are artifacts.
Yeah. And then she gets creative and she starts to find ways to like put things on so she can go up and change the light bulb. And they're magnetic, and she ends up the magnetic is so strong that it starts moving an old Chevy or something that's in the warehouse. And you just see it move inch by inch by inch by inch, and everything keeps sticking to her. Yeah, that's that episode.
All right.
But yeah, so that's also the episode where they are trying to figure out, oh, you have another Eureka. Yes, next episode.
Yes, I believe so. We will cover that next time. So once again, Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 9, Regrets, which we are scheduled at this point in time to record next week.
Next Tuesday. Yep.
All right. I've had fun this week. Have you guys had fun?
Absolutely.
I have.
All right. I don't think I had fun reading any feedback this week.
I didn't get any emails.
Yeah.
I didn't get any.
Yeah, so we need some feedback, guys. You can get a hold of us at our email, which is warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. That's 1313, by the way. Warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. It goes straight to Shannon, and she'll give it to us. And then also, you gals are on the X.
The app formerly known as Twitter. At Ocean363.
Yeah, Syfy Girl, it's a little weird if you don't know Shannon and how she spelled stuff. So it's SYFYGURL. I want to say you made that your screen name long before Syfy changed to Skiffy.
Long before. So before they went to Di-Fi. Yes. I made that back because Syfy was SCIFI was already taken back then. So I spelled it that way a long time ago. But that was also about the time that they were doing Sanctuary, I think, is when they were doing Sanctuary.
I love that show.
And I think I do too. And they just had changed it. But the GURL came from the Bangles because that's how they spelled one of the songs, September Girl. I'm old school. What can I say?
All right. So yeah, get a hold of us there. We would love to read your feedback next time. Until then, that's it. I'm the Janitor SP.
I'm Syfy Girl.
And I'm Carolyn Ocean 363. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Number 1 and Nurse Chapel.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com. Did kids get you anything for your birthday?
I got a stuffed Highland mini cow from Carrie.
Cute.
I know, it's so cute. And then I think it's coming sometime this week, but it's a little heart that says mom on it. And it had, check this out, it had a blue stone on it. Kayla's like, yeah, I got it because I know you like blue. I'm like, you realize it's also actually my birthstone. She's like, really? I'm like, hello. Yes. So
She does now realize it's your birthstone.
Yeah. So she bought it.
A cutie.
No, and it had a blue stone on it. She's like, well, you like blue. I'm like, I do. But she's like, oh, I didn't know it was your birthstone too. I'm like, that's pretty funny.
I bought my first Halloween trick-or-treat candy.
Uh-oh.
Your
What'd you
first?
get?
Well, I just, the big bags of, 100 pieces or whatever.
What'd you get?
It's a big bag of 100 pieces. It's got...
So you never passed out candy before?
No, I mean, this year I start stocking up on it.
Okay.
We have a galore of kids. I got to have at least 500 pieces.
Look, last year was
Really?
the first year I passed out candy and I hated it. I'm like, nope, I'm going to go back out and trick-or-treating.
You only have so many years of that left.
Well, and then they go to haunted houses with me.
Okay.
I took Michaela to her first haunted house last year. I went through it the night before, and I like haunted houses, so I rate them 1 to 5, and it was like a 1.5 stars, right? It was very weak. But the guy in front of me pissed his pants. It was kind of funny.
Did you see all my pictures, Shannon?
I did. So did you have a good time?
I did. It was a blast.
So did you feel up just one of them or both of them?
I got to put my hand on both their backsides.
There you
Not
go.
their butt, but the back.
Were they
I
touching
didn't
you?
put it on my bum.
Did they smell good?
Yes. I didn't
That
notice.
is the criteria you're supposed to have.
I'm sorry, I failed. I didn't sniff them.
I mean, you had number 1 and Nurse Chapel, one on each arm.
On each arm.
And Jerry O'Connell. I mean, he was in the crowd too. I mean, he was literally in the crowd just taking selfies. He's like, yeah, sure, it's all part of the experience. No problem. And I'm like,